Hello dear friends, welcome to my channel In-Depth Analysis with Nitish. So here I am with you live on my channel and we are going to discuss, analyze about the Super 12 matches, and it has been decided. The qualifier teams has been decided for the Super 12 match of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup 2022, which is happening in Australia. And tomorrow the Super 12 match will be kick off with Australia versus New Zealand at the SCG हाँ सिडनी क्रिकेट ग्राउंड में पहला मैच होने वाला है सुपर 12 का। और मेन राउंड जो होने वाला है, यहाँ से सभी टीमों के लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि अपने मैचेस जीते और आगे बढ़े सेमीफाइनल और फाइनल के लिए, और मे भी ट्रॉफी जीतने का यहीं से मेन सिलसिला स्टार्ट होता है। लेकिन कुछ टीमों के लिए जो क्वालिफायर्स टीम थी, चार दोनों ग्रुप में 8 टीमें थी, उनमें से 4 टीमें पहुंच चुकी हैं क्वालिफायर्स खेलते हुए, और उसमें 2 टीमें ऐसी थी जिसका स्टेटस मिला था मतलब काफी पहले, और वो टेस्ट प्लेइंग नेशन थी, वेस्ट इंडीज और श्रीलंका। बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली वेस्ट इंडीज बाहर हो गया है T20 वर्ल्ड कप से, क्योंकि वो क्वालिफायर खेल रही थी वेस्ट इंडीज टीम, और वेस्ट इंडीज टीम अनफॉर्चुनेटली जो 2 बार की चैंपियन है वो बाहर हो चुकी है। और ये एक सैड है क्रिकेटिंग वर्ल्ड के लिए कि वेस्ट इंडीज एक ऐसी टीम जो जिसपे विस्फोटक बल्लेबाज हुआ करते थे, और जो टीम 2012 और 16 में T20 वर्ल्ड कप नो दीपांशु, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट मी फिनिश, उसके बाद तुम्हारा जो क्वेश्चन है एकदम नहीं, क्योंकि कहाँ मैच हो रहा है अब इस पर भी निर्भर करता है, क्योंकि ये मैच जो होने वाला है वो पर्थ में होगा। तो पर्थ में स्पिनर्स कारगर होंगे कि नहीं अफगानिस्तान क्रिकेट टीम के, इसका मैं अभी चर्चा करता हूं इसी वीडियो में। सबसे पहले तो मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि क्वालिफायर टीम जो नीचे आप देख रहे हैं, 4 टीमें क्वालिफाई कर चुके हैं सुपर 12 के लिए। वो टीमें हैं इस प्रकार, सबसे पहले श्रीलंका की थी, कल के मैच जो हुए थे उसमें उन्होंने हराया था नीदरलैंड की टीम को। उसके बाद सेकंड मैच जबरदस्त हुआ यूएई की टीम के, से किसी को उम्मीद नहीं थी कि वो नामीबिया को हरा देगी, और डेविड विजे की एक शानदार पारी वेंट इन वेन, और जिस तरह से डेविड विजे ने ऑलमोस्ट हारा हुआ मैच क्लोज लेके चला गया था डेविड विजे ने, और जिस तरह से डेविड विजे एक तरफ खड़ा होकर, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली जिस तरह से मोहम्मद वसीम ने जिस तरह से बॉलिंग की लास्ट ओवर में, सेकंड लास्ट ओवर आई थिंक, और सभी ने यूएई की तरफ से जिस तरह से बॉलिंग की, स्पेशली द लास्ट कपल ऑफ ओवर्स, वहां से फिर नामीबिया बाहर हो गई है। और नामीबिया बाहर होते हुए एक टीम के लिए अच्छा कर गई कि नीदरलैंड टीम जो कि अच्छी क्रिकेट खेली है पूरे क्वालिफायर्स राउंड में, वहां पे नीदरलैंड की टीम पहुंच गई है क्वालिफायर्स में, जो कि सुपर 12 मतलब क्वालिफाई कर चुकी है। और डेफिनेटली आज एक अपसेट हुआ, अपसेट मैं नहीं कहूंगा इसको, क्योंकि आयरलैंड की टीम भी टेस्ट स्टेटस पा चुकी है, और आयरलैंड टीम की बेलबर्नी, और वहां पे उनका नाम क्या है, बेलबर्नी, और उनके ओपनर बैट्समैन जो हैं जो हेल्दी से हैं ओपनर बैट्समैन, उन्होंने ताबड़तोड़ किस्म की पारी खेली और 146 रन का टोटल यूं ही बना दिए 16-17 ओवर, 3-4 ओवर रहते ही। तो यहाँ पे आयरलैंड ने वेस्ट इंडीज को बाहर करके, और आयरलैंड पहुंच गई है ग्रुप ए में, जहां की ग्रुप ए का इस प्रकार मैं बता देता हूं। ग्रुप ए बहुत ही टफ है और टसल है मेरे अकॉर्डिंग, और ये ग्रुप इतना आसान होने वाला नहीं है, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड है इसमें अफगानिस्तान है, इसमें न्यूजीलैंड है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया है डिफेंडिंग चैंपियन, और इसमें आयरलैंड को हल्के में लेना बहुत भूल होगा यहाँ पे किसी भी टीम के लिए। तो कल से सुपर 12 किक ऑफ स्टार्ट हो रहा है, और जो चौथी टीम गई है वो है जिम्बाब्वे। सिकंदर राजा ने जिम्बाब्वे को अकेले अपने दम पे सिकंदर राजा ने जिम्बाब्वे को थ्रू करा दिया है सुपर 12 के ऑस्ट्रेलिया के क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड कप जो हो रहा है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में T20 का। और यहाँ इंटरेस्टिंग होगा क्योंकि जिम्बाब्वे को भी हल्का लेना शायद बहुत सारी टीमों को भारी पड़ सकता है, स्पेशली उस ग्रुप में जिस ग्रुप में इंडिया है, इंडिया पाकिस्तान साउथ अफ्रीका नीदरलैंड, इंडिया पाकिस्तान साउथ अफ्रीका नीदरलैंड, और उसमें बांग्लादेश भी है एक टीम जो कि भी सरप्राइज कर सकती है, अपसेट कर सकती है, और जिम्बाब्वे चली गई है। तो इस तरह से ग्रुप बट गई है, ग्रुप 1 और 2। अब यहां से दो जो टॉप 2 टीम्स होंगी वो सेमीफाइनल के लिए थ्रू करेंगी, और अभी भी 20 दिन बचा हुआ है और बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा ये T20 वर्ल्ड कप, बहुत ही कॉम्पिटिटिव होने वाला है। पिछला बार का वर्ल्ड कप नोन था कि कौन सी 3-4 टीमें जाएंगी, लेकिन सेमीफाइनल इंटरेस्टिंग हुआ था और फाइनल ऑलमोस्ट एक तरफा हुआ था। तो यहाँ पे दीपांशु का क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं, ये रेगुलर व्यूअर हैं हमारे और ये जुड़ा करते थे पहले, बट क्योंकि अब छोटा शो होता है और मैं थोड़ा सा टाइम निकाल पाता हूं अपने वीडियो के लिए, इसीलिए इनका कमेंट मैं ले लेता हूं यहाँ पे। इनका टुडे दिस वाज नॉट अपसेट वाज द रियलिटी चेक फॉर वेस्ट इंडीज, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग कि today it was not upset, but in a way you can say it was upset because you can expect West Indies to do well against teams like Scotland, Ireland, Zimbabwe, but unfortunately West Indies team is knocked out of the tournament very early of the tournament. Now they are done and dusted for all three formats. We can't say Dipanshu, these things we are saying from the last 20 years. The moment even Brian Charles Lara was playing also, West Indies was not that good of like 80s or late 70s or early 80s, but still you can say that West Indies team you never know। और उसके बाद डेरेन सामी है उनके कप्तान, और ये डेफिनेटली एक डिसहार्टनिंग है एक क्रिकेटिंग टीम के लिए कि जिस तरह क्रिकेटिंग टीम वो डोमिनेट किया करती थी 70s-80s में, और इधर का लेटेस्ट देखा जाए तो पिछले 10 सालों में वेस्ट इंडीज की टीम जिस तरह से प्रोग्रेस हुई है T20 फॉर्मेट में, लेकिन पिछला 2 साल अगर निकाल दिया जाए, इवन लास्ट ईयर T20 वर्ल्ड कप इनके पास खिलाड़ी थे बहुत अच्छे क्रिस गेल, ड्वेन ब्रावो, डीजे ब्रावो, तो यहाँ पे मतलब इनके पास खिलाड़ी थे, सैमुअल बद्री स्पिनर थे, डेरेन सैमी थे कप्तान उनके, जिनके नाम पर एक क्रिकेट स्टेडियम भी रख दिया गया है, सेंट लूसिया वाला है जो वो डेरेन सैमी क्रिकेट स्टेडियम के नाम पे है। तो यहाँ पे देखा जाए कि वेस्ट इंडीज टीम डेंजरस हो सकती थी, लेकिन वो वर्ल्ड चैंपियन की तरह पिछले 1-1.5 सालों से नहीं खेल रही थी वेस्ट इंडीज की टीम। इसीलिए मैं कहूंगा यहाँ पे कि अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि वेस्ट इंडीज जैसी टीम जो सरप्राइज दे सकती थी सुपर 12 में आके, किसी को भी हरा सकती थी और वो ग्रुप में जाती, डेफिनेटली इंडिया के ग्रुप में जाती, अगर आज जीतती तो वो इंटरेस्टिंग होता थे वो ग्रुप, और टफ कंपटीशन मिलता साउथ अफ्रीका, इंडिया और पाकिस्तान को, इवन जिम्बाब्वे को। तो यहाँ पे देखा जाए तो मेरे अनुसार वेस्ट इंडीज टीम हार चुकी है। Okay, I'll share the link because it's late. I thought that nobody wants to come, but still I'm sharing the link. Don't worry about that. एक सेकेंड मैं लिंक थोड़ा शेयर कर देता हूँ व्यूअर्स, थोड़ा सा 1 सेकेंड प्लीज। मैं लिंक अभी शेयर कर देता हूँ यहाँ पे। One second, I have shared the link in the जो कमेंट वहां आएगा वहां पे मैंने शेयर कर दिया है। तो कल अब हो गया, अब जिम्बाब्वे, आयरलैंड, नीदरलैंड और श्रीलंका चली गई है क्वालिफाई यहाँ सुपर 12 के लिए। अब कल से मेन टूर्नामेंट का जो मेन लीग मैच स्टार्ट होगा, मतलब इन अ सेंस कहें कि हर मैच इंपॉर्टेंट होगा। यहाँ से पहले तो चैनल को जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब करें प्लीज, सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल, लाइक द वीडियोस, शेयर द वीडियोस और जल्दी से फटाफट जुड़ जाए। यहाँ पे पवन इज वेलकम, पवन। Okay, now Pawan is joining and I'm fine. Let's start the topic quickly because it's already 11:36. So his team, means Pawan's team, is qualified with huffed and puffed, I can say, for the Super 12 matches. Because see, if you ask me, see, I'm coming back because you have joined. I'm directly coming back to the team Sri Lanka. Yes. Since you can't say now that this is not an inexperienced bowling lineup. I think Kumara is playing for the last 6 years. I have seen Binora way back in 2018 and 19. You can't say, And already spin department, I can guarantee you, the spin department of Sri Lanka is definitely very good with Hasaranga
Hmm.
and Thikshna and even De Silva. So
Yes.
my question is that with you, regarding Sri Lankan team,
Hmm.
can Sri Lanka this time cross that
Hmm.
hurdle? Because you get close
Yeah.
matches. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Obviously, Australia, England, New Zealand, it's not going to be easy. Obviously, for Sri Lanka, obviously, you're not going to have Chamira and most Madhushanka is a big loss, obviously. And I don't know about Pramod Madhushan's condition. I think if Pramod Madhushan is there, it's a huge relief, huge positive for Sri Lanka if Pramod Madhushan is fit, because I think for sure if Pramod Madhushan is there, he's going to replace Lahiru
Mhm.
Kumara. But for me, I
Mhm.
think the positive news for Sri Lanka is that we are playing in conditions that we do well, especially the pitch conditions are the biggest thing when it comes to Australia. It's not obvious. I think the strength of the squad is obviously a point to obviously bring about, but the pitch conditions are the most important when it comes to Australian conditions. Any match,
Mhm.
mostly in Australia, the pitch conditions is very important, and Sri
Mhm.
Lanka do well at the SCG. We know Sydney Cricket Ground. We have England and New
Mhm.
Zealand both, and these are the
Mhm.
teams that we need to challenge. We have a chance to win against both England and
Mhm.
New Zealand. I think at SCG, the match
Mhm.
against Australia is not going to be easy at Hobart. If I'm mistaken, that match is not going to be easy. Ireland match also we can't take in lightly, because Ireland have played all three matches at Hobart. We haven't played a single match at Hobart. Now on Sunday, we can't take Ireland lightly, because the Ireland know their conditions inside out, and the way that they played against West Indies, we have,
Mhm.
even though maybe Misanka and Pramod Madhushan might not be fit, might
Mhm.
not, but we can't take Ireland lightly. We have to play the strongest combination if possible, and take it sensibly and play properly. That's what, just like how we played against Netherlands, we had to play. But my biggest concern for Sri Lanka to not qualify for the semi-finals obviously is the death bowling. That's the only problem that I have, because every match either Tikshana goes for runs, I don't know, the spinners go for runs, so the fast bowlers, I think Kumara and
Mhm.
Birura did very well in that match,
Mhm. Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, against
Mhm.
Netherlands. But I still
Mhm.
think that's going to be a bit concern. But I still think if we can improve on our death bowling, I think that will be a
Mhm.
huge positive. But Sri Lanka can go to the semi-finals. But if we play according to pitch conditions, if we play proper cricket, I think Sri Lanka can go to the semi-finals for sure.
For me, what I'm reading for the last couple of months, I think this time Sri Lanka have a chance. If you ask me particularly, because see, why the two games of Sri Lanka? Because it was decided way before.
Hmm.
It was decided that Sri Lanka will finish at A1 position.
Yeah.
It was expected, though it was unfortunate that Namibia won against Sri Lanka, but it was expected before when the schedule came that okay, Sri Lanka will finish. That's why I think those who make schedule, I think they have intentionally selected because they knew that Sri Lanka play well at the SSC. I think these things happened. And if you
Yes.
ask me, Sri Lanka has a better chance at SSC. I was going through the stats. I think Sri Lanka. I don't know what happened recently. In recent times, I think Sri Lanka has lost those games, but they were very close recently
Yes. That's
at
right. Hmm.
SCG, Sydney Cricket Ground.
Yes.
I'm talking
Yes.
about. And
Yes. Yeah.
if you ask me another problem Sri Lanka are facing, that Sri Lanka once again Shanaka is doing well what he used to do way back 6 months ago, 1 year ago. I think he is not doing well with the bat once again. He's started struggling against
I think
spinners.
his weakness is against spin. That's the problem. His weaknesses are against spin. We saw how Medappan bowled also that delivery, and he struggled also. I think always Shanaka's weakness has been spin, because fast bowlers, if it comes to fast bowlers and pace wise, he
Hmm,
can
hmm,
smack. But
hmm,
against spin, if you give him a spinner and he faces it, he usually struggles. And
hmm,
against leg spinners also he struggles. So that's a bit of a concern. And for me, the biggest
hmm,
concern is Bhanuka Rajapaksa and Hasaranga mainly. I think
hmm,
Hasaranga's batting,
hmm,
I don't know, for some reason we need runs in that middle order, but Hasaranga, he tells himself as a batting all-rounder, but he's not scoring runs. And when he's doing very well for domestic with the bat and doing well in the nets also with the bat, I don't know when it comes to international matches
Hmm.
what Hasaranga does with his shot selection. Very, very poor at times. And those kind of things will cost us in the Super 12 if Hasaranga doesn't step up. Like how we played in the Asia Cup final, we need Hasaranga, we need the middle order to step up, because we can always depend on Kusal Mendis and Nisanga to carry the bat and go to the 16th over, 17th over. We need DDS, Hasalanka, all those batsmen to perform somehow this time around, because otherwise we won't be able to go far in the Super 12 if all the 11 have to contribute in some way. Just like the Asia Cup, all the 11 must contribute. Otherwise,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't I don't see Sri Lanka going to semi-finals, obviously. But good chance is there, since we are playing in the pitches that we are good at, because usually we don't have a good record in the MCG, Melbourne. Luckily, we're not playing in Melbourne or Adelaide, so that's a huge advantage. We are playing in
No,
Sydney and Perth. We
Adelaide. I
have
think there
good
is a
records
one
over
game
there.
against. I think there is one game
Yeah,
against which team at Adelaide? Adelaide?
maybe. I think there is one match, yes, but still, I think good that we are not getting
Dipanshu,
MCG, because
I'll give this
around
under.
it.
I will not give it this now. The answer you are asking, since this is a I think old 3 days back statements you are asking. So see, everybody know this was not new for us. This was not new for the cricket fans. This news, I think, it's not like that. And see, these things are happening for the last 15 years or so. And since the people since the teams are playing at neutral venue, let it be. See, we have seen no Asia Cup in UAE happened, and it was both the games were very close. And what can we expect now from these teams to get to have a close games? So these things doesn't matter. Next game is at Melbourne Cricket Ground. I think we can't say anything about his statement. I think whatever he said, for according to me, he is correct. He is correct. इसमें
Hmm.
एनालिसिस का जरूरत नहीं है. We can't do analysis on this. I think next is the Super 12. Tomorrow's game is very important. Australia versus New Zealand. Again at the I want to see how SCG wicket behave, because traditionally I know that Australian pitches have also changed in the recent times, couple of
Hmm.
years time also. I want to see how it behaves, whether a spin will takes place, whether a bowling will come effective or not, or fast bowler will have a say on those wickets also. So tomorrow will be very interesting for your team's point of view also. You people must be watching those games, because both you must be knowing about the weakness also. Because see, Australia being favorite, being the host country, I know Australia is a strong team, but this Australian team is not invincible. I'm telling you, this Australian team, if you catch those moments, no, they can be beaten. Zimbabwe has shown that in the last ODI when they have traveled. I'm
Hmm.
I'm telling you, you never know. At Perth, everybody is saying that Australia is going to dominate, but reverse can happen. You never know. You might
Well, they
you
lost
might get
3-0
couple of
against England.
wickets, 3 wickets. What?
Just last week they lost 3-0 against England in the 2020
Huh.
bilateral series. So you never know.
If the last match would not have been watched or could not have been, I think it was 3-0 or definitely on the card. Prediction. Okay, he is asking prediction. Let me take his question. Prediction on in New
I think
Zealand versus
Australia and
Australia.
Pakistan. I
Definite.
think
See, New
Australia.
Zealand. New Zealand is struggling at big time. You
Hmm.
can't expect New Zealand to lose at home and coming and to do well in the World Cup.
But Nitish,
Last
I
year
think
was different.
New Zealand has a very bad record at Australia. That's the issue. Main worry, I
Hmm.
think, last 10 years this has been, and especially my biggest concern is Kane Williamson playing against spin. That's the issue. Mainly, these players can't play against spin, and there's Zampa and Maxwell to watch out. And Zampa in Australian conditions is brilliant. Even though people might not be talking about spinners much in the 2020 World Cup, I think spin might
Hmm.
come into a bit of a play at SCG. Mainly, turn is there at Sydney. It's the only pitch, I think, Sydney and maybe Adelaide a bit, but Sydney mainly spinners can come into play a lot. So I think that's where even Sri Lanka will come into play also with the spinners. That's what Zampa will
Hmm.
definitely come into play. We saw that in the February also in the Sri Lankan series I was watching. Zampa did very well at SCG. So I think Zampa will definitely come into play, and I think New Zealand batters might struggle, especially, and they are I don't know. New Zealand the problem is the opening combination. They're struggling to
Hmm.
say think who's going to
Hmm.
open Guptill or Allen or Guptill or Conway. They're sorting that out. Conway can bat at
See,
four. So
I
one of the
even don't know about few names of the New Zealand players nowadays because I have not following them for the last 6 months or so. But the record suggests that New Zealand right now is not playing well. It's not about the every time they go through the semi-final or because their teams were doing well in the last year's world cup. Before that, you can see the stats. New Zealand have been winning the game, but the nowadays scenarios are different. You are losing the try series. Okay, New Zealand easily, I can say that New Zealand, everybody is saying that they are the contender of semi finalist. Not everybody, but most of them, because they usually do well. But for me, I think you can easily cross New Zealand out of that semi-finalist list.
I think
For
New
me,
Zealand
I think it's
can
still.
do. Yeah, the
Continue.
problem with New Zealand is also Lockie Ferguson's fitness. I think that's another problem. Third seamer is a bit of a problem because obviously Bolt and Southey will fire. But what will happen to the third seamer, especially Lockie Ferguson, Adam Mill, both are coming out of injuries. Lockie Ferguson hasn't played for 5 or 6 months since the IPL. He hasn't played, so that is a bit of a concern. He's in the squad also. The middle order
Hmm.
of New Zealand also, I don't know. Usually we see Dariel Mitchell opening, but now Dariel Mitchell
Hmm.
bats at number 5, so that's also a
Hmm.
concern. Guptill's form hasn't been that great, so a lot of problems. Kane Williamson struggling
Hmm.
in spin, so
Hmm.
many problems I see with this New Zealand side. Only positive I see is the fast bowling department, only with Saudi and Bolt, and Sodhi also could come into play, but still I think Australia have less concerns compared to New Zealand, and I think Australia, knowing their conditions inside out, I think they are favorites. The favorites to win, I think, tomorrow easily, I think.
And he is saying that Afghanistan his favorite. Dipanshu is saying. See, Afghanistan is favorite or not, I know. Everybody knows. If you're see, this is your heart saying. I think you want Afghanistan to win, but the reality is Afghanistan is not going to win tomorrow because the pitch, no, the condition. You have to also observe the ground where it is happening. I think it is happening in Perth, and you can't expect Afghanistan. If it was in SCG or in Adelaide, I could have said that okay, they can surprise, but still England is a lot tougher team for Afghanistan cricket team right now. If Afghanistan, let me tell you one thing, Afghanistan is definitely going to win one of these games, either against Australia, England, New Zealand, or Sri Lanka. And against which team they are going to win, I think that team will be knocked out. It may happen also that Afghanistan, we expect every time that Afghanistan is going to surprise everyone with at least one win against big team. But it didn't happen last year also. It didn't happen in Asia Cup. Let me see what will they do in this one, Super 12.
I
But
don't
he is,
think England is a challenger. I think England does well against spin, and especially Rashid and Mujib. I don't think they'll come into play, especially in Perth. Usually the fast bowlers. So for me, I think Farouk is the one to watch out for if I'm telling tomorrow. But definitely at Perth, I
hmm.
don't think Rashid and Mujib and England are the best. When it comes to Rashid and Mujib, I'm telling England is the best team that can obviously face this Rashid and Mujib and make them concede runs and make them not
No, you are see, we are suddenly saying that England is best team because of the last 5 or 6 games.
not
Before
because of
that,
that
every
only. I'm analyzing, looking at the 2019 World Cup, what happened to Rashid Khan. Obviously, it's ODI cricket that I'm saying, but still, how Josh Butler, that time, Owen Morgan, lot of batsmen over there that time also faced Rashid Khan, Mujib very well.
subscribe,
Even
subscribe,
recently
guys.
also, even recently
Hmm.
also in series, England have been doing well against spin. I mean, against Zampa, any spinner. I'm saying England have
Hmm.
been doing well. They have Livingston, they have Malan. David Malan has come back to form. Josh Butler is doing well.
Hmm.
So there is a
Hmm.
lot of depth in that England batting lineup. I think batting wise,
Hmm.
England don't have a worry. For me, my worry is the bowling for England, because the problem is Chris Wokes is not fit to play tomorrow. Most likely, he might not play. The death bowling, especially Afghanistan batsmen, can take advantage of the England bowling, because the fast bowling could be weak. And Adil Rashid, I'm not sure whether he'll come into play. So that is my concern, is only the bowling of England. Batting wise, I think they'll dominate Afghanistan, but bowling wise, if they'll have to get Gurbas out early. If they don't get Gurbas out early, I think he's a very, very dangerous batsman to watch out for. I'm telling you, Rahmatullah Gurbas is the player to watch out for from this Afghanistan team. I'm playing 11, even more than Rashid Khan. I think Gurbas is the player right now, the player in form, I would say.
Hmm. 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 Gurbaz is dangerous, definitely for Afghanistan team. For but what about day after tomorrow? I think we are going to get a very, very, I think, huge game for all of us. I think it's not only about Indian fans or Pakistan cricket fans, but for all of us. I think, I think the rain is going to interrupt the game. This is for certain. The way
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
looking, I'm
hard to say,
watching.
Nitesh, because per day they say that it changes. Now from 90% it's gone to 80%, now 80% to 70% today, if I'm not mistaken. So you never know. Rain could come, rain could not come.
Pavan,
It could
if
be.
I'm not wrong, I think your team is having first game day after
Yes, yes,
tomorrow.
we are playing against Ireland on Sunday at Hobart, and then the India versus Pakistan at Melbourne. So yeah, they're saying there's floods going to happen in the India, and even now the Sri Lanka and Ireland also, they're saying most likely could be washed out in Hobart. They're saying it could rain on Sunday. That match also could be washed out. So I don't know whether there'll be any match on Sunday right now with the weather coming. So it's a bit of a concern, I would say, if the Sri Lanka
I
versus
think
Ireland.
why they have. I think why they have did this schedule. I think make this schedule. They could have easily shifted 10 days in November. I think they could have easily started the World Cup at the earlier month of the November. I think days.
Yeah, I
I
think
think,
Dipanshu,
but
I think Gurbaz is fit. Gurbaz is fit. They've already said, the Afghanistan team doctor said that he's fit on Sunday. So no concern, even though he has got a bit injured against Shine Shafri. They've said he's nothing, no fracture. So he is fit to play against England, and I think he'll perform. Gurbaz is a fighter. He'll perform somehow. We've seen with injuries, everything battle. He's a player to watch out for, and I think the other player to watch out for is Ibrahim Zadran. He's another
I
player who.
also see Dipanshu and Pavan. I also want Afghanistan to do at least first upset tomorrow itself. Don't wait
But
for
I don't think that's not the reality that will happen. That's the
the
issue.
yes, this is because see Afghanistan somehow they are restricted to only the Asian condition. They are doing well. When they get these kind of pitches, I think they really struggle. They absolutely struggle on this kind of tracks like Perth, Brisbane. You can say. I think I have heard about that Hobart pitch is similar to Geelong. Is that true?
Who? What? The Geelong to what?
Geelong pitch on the deck where Sri Lankans played 3 games. I think
Yes.
Hobart pitch is more of same. They are saying.
Not
I think
same.
somewhere I
No,
have read
Geelong.
that almost
Geelong is a
similar.
bit
Same,
similar to
not
Adelaide.
similar.
It's similar to Adelaide. It's a bit of a dropping pitch in Geelong. I think Adelaide it's a bit similar to Geelong, but not to Hobart. I think Hobart conditions are pretty different to Geelong. Could be a dropping pitch over there as well, but don't know these curators. I don't know what they do, but I think Geelong is quite similar to Adelaide. Any team that is playing in Adelaide, I think should know the conditions inside out,
Hmm.
especially the dropping pitch. Sri Lanka even struggled against Namibia. The reason why Sri Lanka struggled against Namibia also.
At least they have qualified. You should be happy. West Indies are having knocked out of the ICC.
I don't know.
I
No point
afraid.
talk about West Indies. I don't know what else to talk about West
Now,
Indies right
what he is
now.
asking, Pawan, what he is asking, tell him the answer. I don't know.
Ireland is the first
Oh,
match.
Ireland. Ireland is a good team. You never know with the Ireland.
Yes,
Ireland
yes.
may kick
That's
out.
what. Now they easily thrashed West Indies today. I don't know what the West Indies players are doing. Puran is doing. I don't know what's happening with West Indies cricket. I don't know why they're hosting the 2024 2020 World Cup in the
Say
first
you
month.
can. You could have say these things. We also said about Sri Lankan team 6 months back, even in the last year's World Cup. Same
Yes.
kind of things we were discussing about Sri Lankan cricket, but slowly but gradually Sri Lanka are coming back on the track. It's good, but if they reach somehow semi-final, you can easily say that the resurgent or transition, long transition phase of Sri Lankan cricket is over. If there is semi-final,
But I think West Indies are
otherwise,
going backwards. This is the problem. West Indies, I
hmm,
don't know what
hmm.
solution they have because Puran, I don't. He's definitely not a captain. I don't know what decisions he was doing. I was watching the match. Odion Smith bowling the power play when you have Jason Holder, who's a very good bowler and does well in the power play, and you don't give him over in the power play. How sort of a ridiculous captain can Puran be to just give Odion
I
Smith that
think.
over and concede
Do
16
you
runs? He
think? No. Do
bowling in
you
the
think Puran is the right option for captaincy for the West
No, I don't
Indies?
think. I think Holder should be captain, either Jason Holder or even Roman Powell, because Roman Powell, I think, won the CPL with Jamaica. I think I was
No, they
impressed.
have to. I think they have to go back to Jason Holder
Yeah,
because
maybe. Yes,
Jason
I
Holder
agree. I think
somehow
Jason Holder is
think.
the number one choice because obviously Pollard
Hmm.
is not there. Puran definitely not a captain. I don't know. His place is also in danger also with the way that he's playing right
Subscribe,
now.
subscribe, guys.
I don't know if Puran is the best choice right now, even in that playing 11. I'm not sure whether Puran can secure his place. With the way that he's playing these ridiculous shots, I really don't know. Opening wise, they have issues with Kyle Mayers and
Hmm.
Brandon King. It should have been Evin Lewis and Brandon King opening, but they're opening with Kyle Mayers. How on earth is Kyle Mayers opening and then Johnston Charles coming in that team all of a sudden? I don't know what this West Indies team is up to. They're chopping players. They don't know what sort of playing 11 they are going to. This is why they lost to Ireland and Scotland. And the bowling, horrible bowling. I don't know, except for Alzadi Joseph, all others were third class. Third class bowling from audience. I don't know how Romario
Hmm.
Shepherd wasn't in this
Hmm.
team. Fabian Allen,
Hmm.
obviously Russell and all that political issues. This is what happens when you drop Kyron Pollard 6 months ago as captain and make Puran captain. This is the consequence that happens to this West
Hmm.
Indies team when they make such drastic changes all of a sudden, and now they've faced it. They've faced it. I don't know what will happen to their standard of cricket, CPL, all under danger. They might lose their IPL contracts, all of them, most of them, I think, except for Narayan and Russell. I don't know whether the other players will get IPL contracts right now with how they're playing. They don't deserve.
He is asking who will play Sam Curran or David Willey. I think Sam Curran is the good choice
Yeah,
because
I think Chris Wokes. Yeah, for Chris Wokes, I think for me, I think Sam Curran will play. Mark Wood, and I think Chris Jordan most likely. Chris Jordan or Tymal Mills. I would prefer Tymal Mills because he's a
see,
very good
but the
depth.
England is having the same issue as with India, just like India. Last
Yes.
year's England were with the same team. I think the same lineup,
Yeah,
apart
but they don't
except
have Reece
Morgan.
Topley. Reece Topley was injured. This is the thing. Reece Topley, if he was there, he was in the playing 11 for England. But his injury is a big loss. Now, Chris Wokes is also perhaps going to be injured. I think that's a bigger blow for England than Reece Topley. Two of their main bowlers out means England could also be in danger sometimes if
Hmm,
Chris
hmm,
Wokes is
hmm.
out of the 2020
And
World Cup.
See, Chris Jordan, Mark Wood, they under pressure, they leak a lot of runs at the death. I have seen they
Yeah.
have given lots of runs in many games. If you
Mm.
ask me, I have Daryl Mitchell and Conway played the brilliant innings in that semi-final of 2021 in UAE.
Yeah.
These persons were there. Jordan was there, Vokes was there, Wood was there, and they could not restricted. I think they have given 12 runs per over in the last 5 or 6 overs, and New Zealand won and through to the final. Nevertheless, I think
I think
England is a good team.
Sam Curran is
Hmm?
definitely going to play because Sam Curran for me is the one who gets the wickets, especially in the power play. For me, more than Willie, Sam Curran is a very dangerous bowler. He can get wickets at crucial moments. He's a very senior bowler. He's been in the lineup for like 6 or 7 years, more than David Willie. So you have to trust Sam Curran whether he's injured or after injury or whatever. Sam Curran is a must in that playing 11. If Chris Wokes is not there, he's the main
Hmm.
bowler in the team, Sam Curran. So you have to trust him. He can bat also.
Hmm.
Sam Curran, a good all rounder. So more than
Hmm.
Jordan and Wood, I would trust Sam Curran a lot, even more than Tyrell Mills also. All these three bowlers, they can leak runs on their day. Especially, I'm not convinced with Chris Jordan and Mark Wood's death bowling. Very poor. They are only good in the power play. So that's another concern. If Chris Wokes is out, I'm telling you, it's a bit of a concern for England for their chances to
If
go to
New
semi final.
if New Zealand will lose now one-sided, I'm telling you, New Zealand can be beaten by these teams also. I'm telling you, England, Sri Lanka. I'm telling you this time. But the only hurdle for your team is will be England, and I'm telling you way before that game that England versus Sri Lanka game will be knocked out. No, a knockout match, virtual knockout match. Let me tell you. If you are seeing, if you're observing the schedule, it is like that only. If you are watching this will be the last game. I think England and Sri
Yes,
Lanka
yes,
at SCG.
yes.
I think that will decide the semi-final spot.
Hmm.
See,
Agree.
these are the things that matters really, and that match is almost at the last. I think at 5 November or six
Yeah,
November.
yeah.
If you
Hmm.
really see that, I think that
Yes.
will be the virtual eliminator for both the teams. Way before
Hmm.
I'm telling you, because see, Australia, you can easily say that Australia will beat at Perth to Sri Lanka will be beaten definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
But New Zealand,
yeah.
if see New Zealand at SCG, I am backing your team to win. Afghanistan, definitely the way Sri Lankans are playing, they are jailing. I think they will beat. But the only hurdle is against England. They have to, and England crack under pressure. You know that
Hmm. I
this
think even
England team
Ireland
will
match is
crack. So
also
it is.
Ireland match also could be a watch out
No,
because the
see,
way that Ireland is playing
watch
in
out.
Hobart,
See, you
you
can't
never know.
ignore. See, I'm not ignoring Ireland. You have to win against Ireland. See,
Yeah.
suppose you lose against Ireland, then your World Cup is over. Then immediately
Hmm.
your confidence will be low. You will be lose beaten by Australia definitely. But winning against
Hmm.
Ireland will set up the momentum for your team. But nevertheless, Indian group is, I think, India Pakistan once again in the similar group like the last year. Three teams are there. That time New Zealand was there. This time South Africa is
South
there.
Africa.
The only changes is that after India Pakistan game, India is facing one of the qualifier. Then they will face South Africa. I think this is the
Hmm.
biggest positive sign for Indian team. But this time in Melbourne, I am thinking. I think India is quite favorite to win the game if it happens.
Yeah, I think, but you never know, Nitish. The thing is, Pakistan also, if
See,
Baba's
UAE,
Azam
see,
can't perform that
see,
game,
you historically in UAE, Pakistan have dominated. In 90s,
true,
90% time Pakistan have
true.
beaten.
I agree with all this, but then Pakistan, the thing is their bowling. The bowling is good. That is the thing. Compared to India, you have to accept the bowling of Pakistan is much little compared to the Indian bowling because obviously if Bumrah was there, I would say it's 50-50 for sure. But without Bumrah, I know Shami is coming after 6 months. He has experience in Australia. He can perform. He did well in the warm up also. But against Pakistan, it's a different game. You're playing your first international match after six. Those were warm up matches. Maybe Shami will perform, but this is under pressure against Pakistan. Never easy. And you're coming after injuries. Same with Arshdeep Singh. I know he
Hmm.
can handle pressure. Pakistan at MCG with the crowd also not easy. Your first time, your first 2020 World Cup. And not easy for these bowlers. That's why I'm saying Jasprit Bumrah is a huge loss. I know Jasprit, if Jasprit Bumrah was dead, definitely would have been far. But without him, sort of a small percentage goes away from India. So obviously, it will be a very tight match. That's why I'm saying the Indian batsmen have to take a lot of advantage from this match. If they bat first, put as much
And
runs as
see
possible.
the experts. the expert, the cricket experts, analysts, they are saying the right thing that India Pakistan, the winner will definitely have one foot in the semi final. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they'll
Definitely,
qualify.
because everybody see
They
in
might
these
even qualify.
condition you can easily yes in these condition you can easily say that South Africa are clear favorites, but India's match is at Perth, Pakistan match is at Adelaide. This is the difference. This can make a difference because you see everybody is saying South Africa is definitely going through the semi final, but I have a doubt on South Africa. You never know, India and Pakistan can through to the semi final and South Africa can be knocked out
I
because
think
South
big
Africa
concern
has
for
this
South
kind of
Africa. I think big concern of
hmm,
South Africa is Temba Bavuma. This is the problem. I don't think Temba Bavuma fits in that playing 11. There is players like Hendrik Klaasen, Risa Hendricks, especially Risa
Reza
Hendricks.
Hendricks.
I think definitely
Hmm,
Risa Hendricks should come to the playing 11 instead of Temba Bavuma. But
hmm.
unfortunately, Bavuma is
Please
the
guys
captain, and
subscribe my channel.
the problem is his
Hmm,
strike rate. Bavuma strike rate is a
hmm,
huge concern, and Quinton de Kock is also not performing well. Recently, I think Quinton de Kock has been struggling the last 10 matches. So these are a bit of concerns. And if Risa Hendricks was in the playing 11, he would perform definitely with how
hmm.
we've seen in 2022. And Rassi van der Dusen, that's the biggest thing. Rassi van der Dusen
No,
is
he
not
is
there in the
injured. No, Wonder Dusan
that's
case
what I'm
is
saying.
that he is
I
injured.
know that. That's what I'm saying. Without Rassi and the
Hmm,
Dusan, it's a big blow. I would say him and Dwayne Pretorius, both of them, key players for South Africa.
hmm,
That's what I'm saying.
hmm,
Both of them out of the 2020 World Cup. It's a bit of a blow for South Africa as well without Rassi and the Dusan
hmm,
and
hmm,
Dwayne Pretorius. And
hmm,
Marco Jansen, I don't think. Marco Jansen will struggle in Australian pitches. I know he could be a good replacement, but I don't think Marco Jansen is ready yet to he might be performing in with in IPL, but I don't think yet in Australian pitches. I don't think he's the right guy to go to. So that's the fear I feel. And obviously another fear for me is that second bowler, Ningidi and Noikia. Both of them still not up to the mark, especially Henrik Noikia not up to the mark. Only Kagiso Rabada
See,
is performing.
Enric Nokia, everybody talks about Enric Nokia. I know Nokia is very good bowler in test matches, but in T20s and in 50 over format, I have seen him leaking lots of runs under pressure.
No,
At the
I think
death
it's because
also,
of his injury. It's mainly because of his injury. After his injury, I don't think he's back to his best, and he's leaking runs, especially in the power play. Depth, I think, is still there, but I think after injury, I see a different Nokia. He's not the Nokia that we saw last year in the 2020 World Cup. He's definitely lost his rhythm, especially after his hamstring injury. He's not recovered that properly. So bit of a worry over there. Ningidi is mostly a power play bowler. He does well in the power play. He'll get wickets somehow. Guarantee he'll get wickets. But when it comes to that, another issue with Ningidi, he leaks runs. So I think Pretorius, without Pretorius, it's a bit of a blow because his bowling usually is very useful for the South African team, and
and
without him, uh,
he can good at 7 or 8 number. I think
yes,
he
that's the
does
thing.
with the bat.
Yes, that's the thing. So I think that's a bit of a blow. I think Rassi Van der Dusen is the key player that South Africa will miss.
Subscribe, guys.
I feel
Hmm,
because the middle order for me, South Africa looks a bit weak without Rassi Van der Dusen, and they may have Klaasen, but still, I think without Rassi, I think it's a bit of a loss because they might be having Aiden Markram, Henrik Klaasen, but Rassi Van der Dusen can play that anchor role, and it's a bit of a loss, I would say, for South
hmm,
Africa.
hmm,
But I
hmm.
think most of the teams are having injury concerns. You cannot help.
I think there is you can apart from Australia, the margin is for Australia that they are the host country, they are the defending champion. They have the players. I think 4 or 5 players they can win the game. But
Yeah.
apart from that, I think each and every team is very close to each other. You
Yeah.
can't say that 4 teams out of these 8 or 10 teams, 4 teams are very far away and other teams are very low. I think there is a slight difference between all these teams among these teams. I think who handles the nerves well on that day. I think who utilizes the brain on that day in a better way. I think they will win the game. And in that department,
Whoever
I
might
don't.
Group B also, you never know. These Netherlands and Zimbabwe, they can surprise a few teams,
Upset,
especially South
upset,
Africa
upset.
also.
Definitely surprise. You are
Yes,
right.
especially South Africa, I feel sometimes there could be a surprise happening with
Subscribe, subscribe, guys.
either Netherlands or Zimbabwe. I think they can give a huge threat, like what Sri Lanka did last year to
Hmm.
South Africa in the 2020 World
Hmm.
Cup. I think Netherlands, most likely Netherlands, their bowling is brilliant. Watch out for Netherlands fast bowling, because their fast bowling attack is really good. Even Sri Lanka struggle against the Netherlands fast bowling, so the standard is very good of the Netherlands fast bowlers. So you
Hmm.
cannot
Hmm. Hmm.
count them out, especially how they're bowling. So you never
I,
know, upset can happen.
I
Even
think the
Zimbabwe.
first game of your team is very tricky one. I think the way
Yeah,
Ireland has
Zimbabwe,
been
I
going
think
through, I think.
that's what I
Hmm.
said, because they played all three matches at home. But that's what I'm saying. Ireland could be going as favorites also against Sri Lanka. You never know, because Ireland playing all three matches at home, but winning against West Indies, huge confidence for them after beating West Indies.
Hmm.
Also, you never know. So that's why I think Pathum Nisanka is key. I don't know whether he's fit or not for Sunday. I think that depends mainly if Nisanka is fit or not. If we have
Hmm.
Nisanka, it's a big boost, even Pramod Badushan. But if we don't have them, I don't know who they'll opt to open. That's the problem. We don't have an opener. The Gunnitilaka is out. So most likely we'll have to open with Bhanuka Rajapaksa most likely, and then Asha and Bandara might have to bat in the middle order. So bit of a issue. This is the thing. The injury concerns are the issue for Sri Lanka. If not for injuries, Sri
Hmm.
Lanka
Hmm.
would have could have easily beaten Ireland with Chamira also, but we don't have Chamira also. So I think a lot of concerns right now for Sri Lanka, and hope Nisanka and Madhushan are fit on Sunday. That's it.
There is no news right now regarding those two players with you.
No, they're saying they might be fit, but they said tomorrow in the next session only they can decide whether they'll play on Sunday or not. They are fit. They can play the Super 12, but not sure whether they're
There
fit
are
for the
not any major injury, no.
No,
Is
I
there
think
any
Nissan has
major
a growing
injury?
injury.
Hmm.
He has a growing
Hmm.
injury right
Hmm.
now. Madhushan has a hamstring. They're not out of the tournament, but not sure about the Sunday match. They're recovering, but not sure whether they'll play the Sunday match. That's the
See,
issue.
if they skip till Australia's game also, no. Main match for Sri Lanka is after Australia. I'm telling you. I think the
But
main game for your
the
team is after
problem is because
Australia.
we don't have open. I think Nisanka is a must. I think Madhushan, yes, maybe he can rest for the
See,
island match. He can go with
somehow,
Kumara and
somehow, if your team managed to win against Ireland, no, you can easily digest loss against Australia. These I know, but after that, I think everybody has to be ready from your team. Means being your fan, I'm telling you that everybody has to be ready for those three games. I think New Zealand, Afghanistan, and England. I
yeah,
think
that's what.
that's it, Pawan. Anything you want to say regarding tomorrow's game and regarding any game also?
Yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be very interesting. Obviously, Australia versus New Zealand. I think it's going to be a huge match. Obviously, for both the teams. I think New Zealand also would want to prove a point. Obviously, they might have a bad record in Australia, but I think New Zealand would want to prove a point to Australia that they want to take revenge. Obviously, being the finalists last year, and Kane Williamson obviously would want to score runs against Australia, but I still think Australian bowlers do have the edge. Still, maybe yeah, Saudi and Bolt will do well in Australian pitchers, but still, I think Hazelwood has been doing well in the past 2 years. Zampa has been doing well. The batting of Australia looks really strong. I think if Cameron Green comes to the team tomorrow, I think it will be great if Cameron Green can come. Obviously, they've said Steve Smith will miss out in the first match, and
Hmm.
obviously they did this as a tactic, obviously, to bring in Cameron Green to this team, and I think he's straight away walk into the playing 11. I think Finch will bat at number 4. I think
Hmm.
Green will open with Warner. That's what I feel tomorrow. Mitchell Marsh will play a big role tomorrow. Obviously, Tim David will play a big role. So I think this team looks balanced, Australian team. And New Zealand, when we talk about New Zealand, middle order is a bit of a concern, especially the number 5, number 6, Jimmy Neecham and Darian Mitchell. I'm not huge fans of both of them playing at those positions. Bowling also, their third seaman doesn't look that great. So a lot of concerns are there in the New Zealand camp also. So Yeah, and then I think Australia will win there. England versus Afghanistan. I think England will win. I know Dipanshu might be predicting Afghanistan, but I don't think Afghanistan. I think England is the least team. England and Australia are the least teams to go for upset. Especially for Afghanistan. Afghanistan, if they're going to upset, it can be either Sri Lanka or New Zealand or Ireland. Those three teams they have a better chance, but not England and Australia for me. Yeah, but in India versus Pakistan, I think it's a very tough match to choose, Nitish. I know India are going as favorites, but very tough. You never know what happens in that match. It depends because both teams look quite balanced. Because Pakistan middle order is not good, Indian middle order is good. The bowling of Pakistan is good. Indian bowling is not that great without Bumrah. The batting of India looks better than Pakistan, so very balanced. So you never know what happens, and rain also could be play a part, and you never know what happens. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 2020 World Cup. I think it's
Regarding
definitely.
tomorrow's game, my prediction is that I'm seeing both games one-sided. Australia winning it easily, England winning it easily. Whatever the people are having regarding views regarding New Zealand, I think this time New Zealand will struggle to win at least 3 games. They can win 2 games, but 4 games I don't think they are going to win. If they win, I think they can win the World Cup this time. But the things for the last couple of months, what I am observing them, they lost twice series. They even I think lost against Australia in Australia thrice in ODI series. So for me, I think Australia and England are winning it convincingly, one-sided tomorrow's game. I think Pawan, thank you for. I think
Nitish,
it's
I
late.
really
I
got
think tomorrow
really
once again we will come for the post-match analysis for both the teams,
okay.
both the games at least. So thank you for joining in, Pawan, and please subscribe to my channel, like the videos, share the videos, and please इंपॉर्टेंट मैच है और कल से सुपर 12 स्टार्ट हो रहा है और ज्वाइन कीजिए मेरे चैनल को और जल्दी से लाइक कर दे वीडियोस को सब्सक्राइब करें और चैनल को जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब कीजिए फटाफट अभी जितने लोग देख रहे हैं परसों का मैच बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होने वाला है इंडिया वर्सेस पाकिस्तान और इंपॉर्टेंट क्लैश होने वाला है इस साल का T20 वर्ल्ड कप का मेलबर्न क्रिकेट ग्राउंड में जहां 1,10-15,000 की कैपेसिटी है वहां पे और मैंने मैचेस आपको मैं कल बताऊंगा कि वहां ऐतिहासिक मैचेस हुआ है एसेस का वहां ज्यादा मैच हुआ है और एसेस का जनरली जो 26 दिसंबर को जो बॉक्सिंग डे टेस्ट जिसको कहा जाता है वही होता है और दूसरा पॉइंट मेलबर्न में हुआ था 92 का पहला जो रंगीन कपड़ों में हुआ था और व्हाइट बॉल क्रिकेट में व्हाइट बॉल में हुआ था वहां पर पाकिस्तान ने इंग्लैंड को हराया था 92 में फिर 99 फिर मेलबोर्न में 1985 में बेंसन एंड हेजेस कप गवास्कर की कप्तान सुनील गवास्कर की कप्तानी में भारत ने जीती थी और फिर ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मुझे याद है एमसीजी में वीरेंद्र सहवाग ने 2003-4 ऐसा कुछ साल था जब 195 का स्कोर बनाया था फर्स्ट डे ऑन फर्स्ट डे इटसेल्फ वीरेंद्र सहवाग हिट दैट और फिर एमसीजी का वही फिर ऐतिहासिक लास्ट टाइम हुआ था एमसीजी में जब चेतेश्वर पुजारा के बल्ले से रन आया था और फिर जो मतलब कि अल्टीमेट टेस्ट सीरीज हुआ था जब यंग इनएक्सपीरियंस लाइनअप इंडिया की टीम वहां फतह करके आई थी 2-1 से टेस्ट सीरीज तो बहुत सारा है इतिहास एमसीजी के बारे में लेकिन ये फर्स्ट टाइम हो रहा है इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के बीच परसों संडे सुपर संडे उम्मीद है इंडिया टीम अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस देगी उम्मीद है बारिश ना हो अगर बारिश होती भी है तो मैच कम से कम 15-14 ओवर का होना चाहिए ताकि व्यूअर्स को क्रिकेट फैंस को मजा आया मैच देखने में सुपर संडे है छोटी दिवाली है तो दिवाली धमाका होगा डेफिनेटली ऑन संडे और फिर डेफिनेटली बूस्ट मिलेगा इंडिया को यहां से कि फिर पक्का हो जाएगा ऑलमोस्ट 60-70% सेमीफाइनल का राह आसान हो जाएगा और फिर यू नेवर नो इंडिया शायद अगर पाकिस्तान को हरा देती है तो हो सके अनबीटन सेमीफाइनल में चली जाए और देखते हैं लेकिन अभी लंबा सफर है लॉन्ग वे टू गो फॉर ईच एंड एवरी टीम यू नेवर नो विच टीम इज गोइंग टू क्वालिफाई क्वालिफाइड फॉर द सेमीफाइनल्स। लेकिन देखना पड़ेगा कि किस तरह से इंडियन टीम का प्रिपरेशन रहा है, किस तरह से इंडियन टीम अपना प्लेइंग 11 लाती है वहां पे। दूसरी तरफ देखा जाए कि पाकिस्तान के लिए मुझे कहना पड़ेगा कि पाकिस्तान टीम निर्भर है अपनी बॉलिंग पे, नहीं तो अपने 3 बल्लेबाज पे, फकर जमान, बाबर और रिजवान पे। अगर पाकिस्तान टीम को अच्छा करना है, ना मैं कह रहा हूं इंडिया से किसी टीम के खिलाफ अच्छा करना है, तो पाकिस्तान टीम का मिडिल ऑर्डर चलना पड़ेगा। और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मुझे कम उम्मीद लग रहा है पाकिस्तान का मिडिल ऑर्डर चलते हुए। हाँ, आप 1-2 बैटर से आप टूर्नामेंट नहीं जीत पाएंगे डेफिनेटली, लेकिन इंडिया के पास 5-6 अच्छे बल्लेबाज हैं जो अपने दिन पे मैच का रुख बदल सकते हैं। तो इंडिया के ग्रुप में जिम्बाब्वे और नीदरलैंड पहुंच चुकी है। इधर ऑस्ट्रेलिया के ग्रुप में श्रीलंका और आयरलैंड पहुंच चुकी है। कल मैच है ऑस्ट्रेलिया और न्यूजीलैंड एट द सिडनी क्रिकेट ग्राउंड। ये भी ऐतिहासिक ग्राउंड है। यहाँ पर 2015 में ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने भारत को हरा के फाइनल में जगह बनाया था। 2015 का वर्ल्ड कप का मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, 50 ओवर का वर्ल्ड कप। उसके बाद देखना पड़ेगा एससीजी में इंडिया फिर अच्छा करती है टेस्ट मैचेस, वहां हिस्टोरिकली भी अच्छा की है। और एससीजी में मुझे याद है वो अनफॉर्चुनेट जो हुआ था टेस्ट मैच, वहां पे अंपायर्स की वजह से इंडिया हार गई थी, वहां अनिल कुंबले की कप्तानी में 2007-8 में। बट एससीजी में ही सचिन तेंदुलकर ने उसी दौरे पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया को ट्राई सीरीज में शतक ठोक के वो ट्राई सीरीज अपने नाम किया था। पहला मैच था ट्राई सीरीज फाइनल का और दूसरा मैच ब्रिस्बेन में था और ब्रिस्बेन में इंडिया जीत गई थी 260-65 रन का डिफेंड करते हुए। तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दे, फटाफट लाइक कर दे वीडियोस को। मिलते हैं कल पोस्ट मैच एनालिसिस के लिए। दोनों मैच ऑस्ट्रेलिया वर्सेस न्यूजीलैंड, मुझे लग रहा है दोनों मैच कहीं ना एक तरफा हो जाए। एक मैच का ज्यादा चांस है एक तरफा होने का, इंग्लैंड वाला। लेकिन जिस तरह से न्यूजीलैंड का परफॉर्मेंस कुछ महीनों से रहा है, मुझे लग रहा है ऑस्ट्रेलिया टीम इजीली जीत जाएगी। माय प्रेडिक्शन ऑस्ट्रेलिया टू विन अगेंस्ट न्यूजीलैंड एट द सिडनी क्रिकेट ग्राउंड। और फिर पर्थ ऑप्टस स्टेडियम पर्थ में ऑस्ट्रेलिया ये इंग्लैंड अफगानिस्तान को हरा रही है। तो देखते हैं, अगर कुछ दोनों में प्रेडिक्शन अगर गलत हो जाता है तो ये अच्छा रहेगा क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड कप के लिए, इस वर्ल्ड कप के लिए और भी कॉम्पिटिटिव हो जाएगा। टिल देन थैंक यू, गुड नाइट। देखते हैं कोई कमेंट है। हाय राजकुमार, हाय। पहले तो सब्सक्राइब करो और जल्दी से चैनल को लाइक करो, वीडियोस को शेयर करो जल्दी से फटाफट। अब कुछ देर और रुकेंगे। अगर तुम्हारा कोई क्वेश्चन है रिगार्डिंग इंडिया पाकिस्तान डे आफ्टर टुमारो, या अगर क्वेश्चन है रिगार्डिंग टुमारोज गेम जो कि सुपर 12 का, डेफिनेटली आज 12-24 फ्लो में कल निकल गया है, आज ही है, क्योंकि इट्स ऑलरेडी 12:24। यू कैन से दैट ऑस्ट्रेलिया न्यूजीलैंड आज मैच है। और फिर अफगानिस्तान और इंग्लैंड का वहां डेफिनेटली अर्ली मॉर्निंग हो रहा है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, 5-6 बज रहा होगा वहां पे। लेकिन पर्थ में वहां फिर 2 घंटा पहले, मान लीजिए 3-4 बज रहा होगा। तो देखना पड़ेगा कि किस तरह से दोनों टीमें परफॉर्म करती है। डेफिनेटली ऑस्ट्रेलिया फेवरेट है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया का रिकॉर्ड अच्छा है अपने घर पे। एटलीस्ट जितने लोग, मुझे 20 लोग अभी देख रहे हैं, सभी लोग जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब कर दे चैनल को, लाइक कर दे, वीडियोस को शेयर कर दे। बार बार बोलना ना पड़े इस चीज के लिए। आप लोग डेफिनेटली, आप लोग एक फैमिली है इस चैनल के, जल्दी से चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें वीडियोस को और जल्दी से फटाफट आ जाए। अगर आप लोग और क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं रिगार्डिंग टुमारोज गेम और डे आफ्टर टुमारो मीन्स आज का गेम, और फिर कल का मैच, कल जो सुपर संडे होने वाला है, छोटी दिवाली, और देखते हैं किस तरह से मैच होता है। आई थिंक इट्स ओवर, आज के लिए इतना ही रहने देते हैं, कल मिलते हैं। टिल देन थैंक यू, गुड बाय एंड गुड नाइट एंड एंजॉय द वर्ल्ड कप एंड फेस्टिवल मोमेंट दीपावली। थैंक यू, गुड नाइट एंड गुड बाय, थैंक यू।